How do you see the role of agencies evolving as more brands bring marketing functions inside their organization? How do agencies need to pivot?
I'm asking Jay.
That was actually perfect timing. And I think I know the answer to this.
I was just about to switch the camera off.
I think I know.
I think he's taking a message, like a very, very important message right now.
Yeah.
Can you say it to Grok, please?
I think I know that. Nate Smith. Guess who's back? J Frederick, Executive Creative Director of Point. Yeah. You guys know the pedigree. I don't have to explain anything to you. He's awesome. He's an incredibly talented guy. We're going to talk today about how the marketing landscape is shifting as more companies invest in building in-house teams. Boo. While this move offers speed and brand alignment, it can also bring challenges in bandwidth, perspective, and specialized expertise. Jay is going to share his insights on why the smartest brands aren't choosing either or between in-house teams and agencies, but instead are creating powerful partnerships to bring the best of fresh creative thinking, scalable resources, and the outside perspective that keeps campaigns innovative and effective. Whether you're leading an internal marketing department, considering expanding your in-house capabilities, or looking for ways to get more out of your agency relationships, this conversation will give you practical strategies to strengthen your approach. Jay, what's up, man?
That's the end of the podcast. That's a lot. I don't know if I could live up to the whatever that was.
Stop. You did a pretty great job. I mean, remember the Dos Equis guy? That's good stuff, man.
That popped out.
That was some amazing.
People like that guy.
They do. They love that guy.
I'm the least.
No, Jay, they
You're
love
the
you.
least interesting guy in the world?
Uh-huh.
Damn, dude, that's rough.
Yes.
Well, let's hope that's not the case today. We're going to dive right in.
Okay.
Dive right into it.
Hope
So,
there's water.
in-house teams, man, that's something that that's something that I think not just agencies, but other businesses are finding challenges in as well, because, not only do you take away a strategic partner that it has specialized resources that can help you scale your brand and business faster and bring outside perspective into the fold for your business objectives, but also you have to have somebody in-house that can facilitate this stuff. True. You got to have somebody who either knows what they're doing, like a CMO or a VP of marketing that knows what the heck they're doing, that's maybe been on the agency side, or somebody who's just really well-versed in things that we do day to day. So with all that said, what are some of the biggest reasons companies are shifting towards building in-house marketing teams today?
I think you said it earlier. It all starts with the CMO, because they're in a, even more so than before, they have a lot of pressure on them to provide ROI, right? So how do you do that? You fire a giant agency, you bring everything in-house is kind of the narrative. But I'd argue that you always had in-house marketing if you have a CMO, right? Yeah. You have someone that probably worked at an agency. They know how agencies work. They know how agencies bill. They convince their CEO to hire them to come inside. And many times they say, we can build it inside. It's true, you can. You can build your own in-house agency, and I don't think necessarily it's a threat. I think it, honestly, a lot of our clients, maybe all of our clients, have in some capacity an in-house marketing department, right? And I've never felt antagonistic toward them because, like I said, they're all from the agency background. They're all from the agency world. We've had, in the past, other agencies we've worked at, we've had people working at the client, like embedded in the client. And then a lot of times the CMOs will hire those people in-house or vice versa. So I think it's really the same type of people that we're on the same skill set. And I think there's only subtle differences in being external versus internal, right? Mm-hmm. So, but again, I think it goes back to the CMO and their role and the board's kind of oversight and what is marketing doing for me? What's my ROI? So I've said this for since I was a little baby.
It's a long time ago, folks.
If marketing doesn't pay for itself, then don't spend money on it, right? So it has to pay for itself and then some. So I think that's the role of the in-house marketing agency. It's also not that we're outhouse, but
let's hope not.
But sometimes
that'd be pretty crappy.
Yeah. But we have to be the objective outside resource that acts on our client's best behalf.
Yeah.
if you want.
Yeah, we always talk about. We were talking a little bit ago about the kind of the nature of the rapidly evolving landscape and how the world is so rapidly changing. Mm-hmm. How it's become even more paramount for us to be. I mean, we had to do this before, but just being good stewards of our clients' budgets, where media is concerned, dollars are spent on creative initiatives, creative deliverables, and again, that the whole, because everybody has access to everything now, the whole idea of gatekeeping is kind of out the window. Anybody can find any of these things at their disposal now. The difference is that, again, like I said earlier, inside of an agency, you have, and inside of brands, inside of businesses and brands too, you have skilled people that know what the heck they're doing and can facilitate, may need help with hands. We talked a little bit about this with Luke and Jerry from the McKinney EDC, talking about being able to do those things in-house, but then also having value in a strategic brand partner that can really help you get some of the way 100%. There, even if it's setting up the pins and letting them knock them down.
I think it's, if you want to tie into the military analogy, you have the Navy and then you have the SEAL teams. Mm-hmm. So they still contract out to work at the end of the day for small hit teams that come in and provide strategy. They provide access to talent, tools, things that you could hire, but you can't hire them full time necessarily. Right. So, a lot of, just going between project work and full service work. And then I think the thing that's great about a small agency, this is why, we've worked at large agencies and small, built our own businesses. But I think in going through those different layers and different sizes of organizations, you realize the power of a small, nimble team, and that you can pivot faster, you can adapt new tools quicker, you can make decisions that sometimes they can't necessarily make quickly in an in-house department. So it's much like we do the same when we hire, we contract with production people, specialized people that are great at, insane food photography or, drone operators or really, really talented photographers or, and the argument that you probably say next is, what about AI and how's that changing everything? And I think you said it earlier, a tool is only as good as the user of the tool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you said. You probably said it better, but it's.
I think mine was a little bit more venomous than that.
You can hand me a knife and you can hand me a steak knife and a beautiful steak, but if I used a handle to cut the steak.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's the way I like meat,
Cut with a handle?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
as long as it goes in your mouth.
Well, and I can sharpen it quicker and cut it better and then hopefully eat it. But yeah.
That's actually a really good segue. So with all that said, from your perspective, where do in-house teams excel and where do some of them struggle?
Well, in-house teams, just because they live and breathe their company and their brand. I think the word brand or branding is somewhat overused, especially now when everything's very transactional. But I think they understand the business. They live and breathe it every day.
Right.
They go to work and they think only about this company's business and how we're going to get results and how we're going to make sales. So they have the deep understanding of their customer. They have a lot of times, more than an external agency would. Those are things that we try to, as much as we can, tap into. But at the end of the day, they just know more about their company than an external agency or resource or even a SEAL team, right?
Yeah. But sometimes that can be a weakness too, though.
Yeah.
Knowing too much and just speaking internal terms and things like that externally, it just confuses a lot of people. And so I think that's sometimes is a big weakness for in-house.
100%. Yeah, it's like I would anticipate that's your next question is like, well, what's the flip side of that coin? Is like, well, because I only focus on this every day,
right?
I can't necessarily because there's only so many hours in the day, and I've got a job list of things that I got to do. I can't take a step back and look at my competition necessarily. I can be tasked with that, but I think from an outsider's perspective, we bring to the table the ability to look. I think that's the number one thing I tell clients is like, don't think about just what this widget you're selling or this service that you're selling. It's who else is selling something similar that your consumer, your B2B or B2C, they have an opportunity to buy that service or yours. So what makes yours better?
Yeah.
And people have limited attention span. So how can you put that case out there the best way, get the most eyes, most bang for the buck? That's the other thing, because we know media, we know PR, what resonates with a reporter or, in the media relations side on PR. On the creative side, what's going to get eyes on whatever screen you're looking at.
Yeah.
TV on your mobile, right? So I think it's perspective is something that, because if you have the blinders on, you really intimately know your brand and your company. And then when you can widen those blinders out a little bit from the outside and say, have you thought about this, and that, So I think that's the other thing too, is just the ability to ask different questions. I always preach on, hire an agency or hire people with internal resources that ask the right questions.
Yeah.
And then don't take that as face value. Sometimes within the corporate organization, you can't really ask the right questions because you're like, well, that threatens, at the end of the day, my job or my friend's job or something. It's like, should we be doing this? Should we be spending money here? Should we maybe pivot over here? What's going on with this? Clients the other day talking about, had the last 2 weeks, 5 different clients ask us, how do we show up in ChatGPT search without the ability to step back and say, well, here's how you do it. Literally, let's go and experiment and see how does this client show up in search? Then when you dig, you realize why they're not showing up in ChatGPT specifically. It was something that no one would have thought of. It's because they don't offer insurance, and that's something that the engine evaluates. Anyway, so I just think it's the perspective is something you're also tasking external forces for.
Yeah, I think they have a limited perspective, because it's like if they're looking at their competition and other businesses, companies within their scope, they're not doing these things, then they're not able to see that. Whereas we work with, agencies work with a whole lot of people that are doing these things. And so it's like we're looking 100%. At marketing as a whole and not marketing for this particular industry.
And you've got a lot of best practices you pick up along the way when you're working for an insurance company, a bank, a consumer retail product, a real estate company, a restaurant. The hospitality industry, hospitality and senior living don't seem like they would be the same thing, but a lot of things apply to each other, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, you want to stay at a nice place, whether it's a hotel or a senior living facility or senior lifestyle facility.
Yeah, I was going to say that when you work across that number of verticals, I think, and we talked about this with Susan before, Susan Owen, our CEO. We were talking about how having the capacity to work across all those different verticals, then you gain insights from that vertical about how they engage and intertwine with other verticals that they deal with. So it's extension by it's connection by network extension, right? So you're getting their insights for those things as well.
And the tools that you used on those case studies, you completely different tech stack that you use. You could apply for payments, mobile video, things that you've gone through the process of building out apps for a healthcare system. You can apply that. A lot of learnings, it takes a lot of time to learn that you can apply now to the company that says, I want to build an app. Well, you know what it takes.
Yeah.
You could do it on Lovable for yourself. Go get it. And you can't because there's a lot of things you need at the end of the day to make a robust and healthcare HIPAA compliant platform, right? So things that I think tools are access to tools. That's the thing about, I keep referring back to, mercenaries or SEAL teams, but they have the coolest tools, right? Yeah. So they have stuff that, maybe you could afford, but you don't even know that you need them, right?
Yeah.
Until you see another competitor come out there with a SEAL team and just kick your ass. You're like, damn, I wish I had that guy.
Too late.
Yeah.
I think also I think the next, the taking that a step further is when you talk about scalability and scaling your team, the need to have to vet all those people and to have someone internally that can validate what those people are capable of and if they're the right person for that opportunity. that takes a lot of time and effort. So by going to get an agency, you bypass things like perks and insurance costs, and you're paying a healthy amount of money, but you'd also pay a healthy amount of money for the 10 people that you're going to have to hire to do
and manage,
even half of what the agency does for you.
And that's, we work with a lot of really smart CMOs, have been tasked with building an internal agency, in-house agency, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then watching them have to go through that hiring process. And then can you hire the best people for that role? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So it's we see that struggle from the outside, and sometimes we give advice. Hey, we can do your studio for you. We can do your podcast. If you'd like to do it, we'll help you figure out how to do that.
Yeah. Then
you turn over the reins, and they're like, I don't know how to operate this camera. You're like, okay, we'll help you, right? So it's like,
and then you write a guide for them, and they're like, we still don't know how to operate this camera.
Can you make a video that helps us show how to work WordPress from the back end?
There's a lot of nuance that goes into what we do, and a lot of time and effort. I mean, we've all done the 10,000 hours that it takes, right, to become, I don't really like the word master, but to have some level of expertise in our field, right? It's taken time.
Well, and what's not all time's not equal. So I tell this people about you when you're not looking. To give Nate a job, it could be bad.
Oh, no.
It's like to give you a job versus a junior UX designer, the same job. It will take that junior UX designer 10 hours that's going to take you 10 minutes sometimes, right? Sometimes. So because you have those 10,000 hours, right? Yeah. And you're like, I can bang this out like, UX Rain Man, right? So it's
numbers floating around.
It's like 86 toothpicks on the floor, but it's like, but that's real quantifiable time that you're having to pay someone. You're having to fill up that learning curve, investing in this internal person. Then you could just go, hey, Nate, I need to do this. Can you help me? And you're like, yeah, here, it's in your inbox. You're like, whoa, that was amazing.
The crazy thing that I hear from some people is we want to 10x content and 3x sales. And we want to use AI tools to do it. And it's like, okay, that's fine and well. Are you going to go hire fantastic prompt engineers that are also creatives that can do this stuff, that still bring the human element for creative into the fold? Because that's what you don't realize. Yes, these tools are very capable, and they can certainly improve and make your workflow more seamless, but you still have to know how to get the result out of it.
And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that I am super excited about AI.
Me too.
I'm one of the guys that's like 100% in, because it's just the amount of time that you save. I used to be the king of Google. I had clients call me, hey, can you do me a background check on XYZ? And I'm like, sure, here's your info on this lady that your dad's marrying, stuff like that. And it's like just totally personal.
Like, where are you going to go with this?
Totally personal stuff, but it's like I used to be the king of Google, and now I can go, if with the right prompts on ChatGPT, Gemini, if you want to go the Google route, if you go Chinese route and do DeepSeek, you can do Perplexity, paid and not paid. You can do. There's so much at our disposal now, and I don't know that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm assuming there's not a lot of time internal staffs that are spending that time to learn how to ask the questions to prompt the engines.
Right.
And when you learn those processes and read the dorky books about crit process, this is a hat tip to Jeff Woods, who I read his book called The AI-Driven Leader. And context, context, role, interview, and task. When you set up the AI engine to do that and have the engine ask you questions, that was like a light bulb to me. It's like, this is fantastic. So it's like having a 1,000 times 1,000 thought partners to help you with just research and looking at competitors, looking at things that you would normally do through the old Google, that we're able to have our teams like, here, go, run. And it's so much quicker because they have the ability and the reign to do that here.
Yeah. Shout out to Jeff Woods, man. Yeah, I haven't read the AI Driven Leader, but I have read excerpts from it, and I've heard really great things about it. So I'm actually pretty excited to dig into that one. I'm finishing up Phil Jackson's book right now, so I got to finish that. I can't read.
You still can't shoot hoops either.
I guess I can't read more than a book at a time. And
just kidding. He's
Phil
really good at basketball.
Phil
is not going to play him.
Feeding my dome with some really great stuff right now. So I'm enjoying that, man. Yeah, that's So again, understanding what these tools can do is just a part of it. Knowing how to get the result out of it is like the really big piece that is going to take everybody. But it's exciting. They're exciting prospects.
And that's just research. I mean, we talk about it a lot with VO3 and like looking at just from our side of the fence, just the ability on production. Pretty much right now, we could just clone ourselves and have this interview without us being here. Maybe we're doing that.
Yeah, maybe we are.
Maybe Raul's not real. See? That's fake. It's all AI.
So when you start talking about, I think when is having a strategic agency partner, so knowing all these things about what the perspective that agency brings and where some internal teams struggle and where they excel, what's the value in having a strategic agency partner, even when that company already has a pretty strong internal team? I think we kind of answered earlier, but
I think it's just really bolstering your internal team. I think it's like we're using AI now. I think it's like just giving them PEDs, the ability to hey, think about stuff, ask questions. Have you thought about this? This is what so-and-so's doing over here. This is what we did for this client. What do you think about that? And they were like, oh, that's a really good, great idea. Well, I never thought about that. Mm-hmm. And vice versa. We learned so much from our clients just on how they're running their businesses and how they're getting their customers. So we're stealing ideas from them too. So it's not really stealing, it's sharing. So I think it's really, I don't see the division. I see it as that we're, a team. It's a blend. It's a blend. I think just like we're going to blend Neuralink in our brains, we're going to blend in-house agencies with external.
I think people are laughing now, but it's
yeah.
It'll happen.
Get ready for the lobotomy.
No,
were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say that it's never good to work in a silo. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want to just work.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty healthy to.
And that's
work
what
with
some of our
people
clients have said about. It's really cool because you could outsource a lot of the coding and back end stuff. To offshore, right? And they're and then managing these disparate teams around the world a lot of times. So you got 10.5 hours difference between here and India. And I have some wonderful dev people in India. I love working with them. Then it's managing that, and it's trying to coordinate that person with this content writer over here.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of cats to herd. And I think if that's the role that CMO wants to take on, they can do that. That's just a lot more work for them where they can partner with others. Let us manage that dev. Let's manage, if we need to do it offshore, we can. But I guess where I was going, a client recently commented, I love that you and Grant are right across the street from each other. And they're like, hey.
Yeah, me too.
We're drinking coffee. What do you think about that? I've already done that. Here's what, do you see the new tool that we're using for WP Engine or something, stuff that I'm, above my pay grade, but I'm like, sounds cool. They're working together, right? It's it's neat to see collaboration.
I always equate it to, you ever heard that saying that, you should talk to more people than just the people that you usually hang out with, because if you don't, you're missing out on a really great human experience. So you should talk to different people to get different perspectives, right? Across the board, right? Because you're just missing out on some of the great parts of life. I look at business and the stuff we do the same way. It's like, you should seek these things out. I'm always for me personally, I get bored if I don't get challenged. So I want somebody to challenge my perspective and say, hey, tell me something that I'm not already privy to so I can learn from it, right? I want to know. So I'm constantly seeking out somebody who knows more than I do about something and just want to soak it up.
That's, I think, the smartest, coolest CMOs out there are doing exactly that. They're doing what we're talking about.
No, just need the title and the paycheck.
No, but it's like I follow a guy named Fernando Machado. He was a Burger King CMO for years when they're doing the most groundbreaking work with CPB and beyond. And he shares the coolest stuff that he sees in the world, literally, in the marketing sphere, and it's really cool to follow who he's following, right? So it's cool to see thought leadership via who you're following. Right?
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
Cool.
So how can agencies like Point ourselves complement in-house marketing departments without creating overlap or friction, without stepping on toes too much?
I just, come on, man. We got through COVID, and we
It's true.
at the end of the day, we're blessed to not be having to do jobs we've all had in the past, and it's a great business to try to attract customers.
Yeah.
Right. So I just don't have that. When you see ego, you're just like, okay, that's cool, but hey, what about this? We got to solve this problem. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I just don't feel like there's, even when there's perceived overlap, I don't think there is. I think we're all on the same team. We're trying to, at the end of the day, I want you to get a promotion. That means I'll get one. We'll all have a good Christmas together, or whatever we celebrate.
That's a good point, though, dude. No, I think you're right. I think that when you go in with, always, you guys hear me talk about heart of service a lot. Like when you go like, hey, do y'all's floors need to be swept? And just show me where the broom is, man. I'll go do it. I want to help make sure you're successful.
That's my thing. I was like, if you want me to wash your car, I will. I'll do a crappy job of it, but I will
just
do it.
As long as you're not wearing like
as long as you're paying
cheerleading
me.
shorts.
You got to pay me though, because I do so many free jobs at home.
Can they pay you in barbecue?
Yes.
Nice.
100%. That's why I have I know how to use a knife.
So you don't cut the brisket with the handle. Perfect.
That's right, yeah.
So I think that's a good point, man. I think being that we have been in our past, especially just touching on this a little bit more, outside of the last couple of years, we've been very B2B focused, and we still are very B2B focused. We work heavily with internal teams as sort of the bolt-on, right? Like we attach on to what you guys are already doing, bring that perspective, bring that strategic angle into the table, help you get the rails down, help you start to build the train, and then so you can take it the rest of the way. And then, we can check in. And if you need some help with production or deliverables or whatever, then we'll be there for you. But having that secondary strategic angle, even when you feel like you've got your bases pretty well covered internally, which a lot of teams do really great work, man. There are some teams that need a little bit more help than others, but there are some internal teams, man, that really have it down. They've got great people that may have been, not say agency people are all, we're pretty great, but let's say agency people aren't all the end all be all of everything, but we do bring that level of expertise into the fold that we can, but we always come in with the idea in the heart of wanting to help. Like, how can I bring value to this situation?
I think that maybe part of the root of why the other, I guess, unspoken thing maybe just brought up to me is like, for years, having been built small business up, we would constantly hear way before AI and way before really in-house marketing teams were on the rise, the big agency mentality of we do it this way and you come to us to get our supreme thinking, and then you come to our steps and we give it to you like the 10 Commandments, and then you run back to your CEO and see, look what they gave us, the Pepsi logo. And you're like, and then meanwhile everybody's like, that's a stupid logo. Anyway, but it's like
just happened a lot this year,
attitude
folks.
of ego, right? So if we drop the ego, I think that's the nature. Is like, I'm going to make you drop the ego.
Yeah.
Because I'm a CMO that I'm tasked now, that he's under me to perform, and I can't afford ego.
Yeah.
Right. So when I can't afford ego, I better make it myself. Right.
Yeah.
So, So I don't think there's something there, because you see the rise of consultant agencies like Accenture, Song, and PwC brand experience centers, stuff like that, to where they're coming as a consultant. Are you an agency now, or are you a consultant? Well, we're consultant because we're giving you ideas and we're helping you evaluate your media spend, and we're helpful. We're not the WPP Omnicom.
Yeah.
It's like, I think people are kind of overworking with
chest beaters.
I work with Omnicom. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against Martin Sorrell or whatever, but you know what I mean? It's like,
talented folks.
I think
no
people, especially when people can create, pretty soon they're going to be making their own Netflix movies. I have an idea for a Netflix movie. I would like to see this, and this. Prompt engine, Netflix, make me a movie. Every night I come home and I watch my series that I made in my brain. It's cool. That's where we're getting.
Or they can just take their new cinema grade iPhone 17 Pro. Shout out to Apple.
So
Cosmic Orange.
At the end of the day, this consumer is going to circumnavigate us all, right? So it's if we stay involved with
they say we're living in a creator's economy, but it's one thing, then that begs the question, and this I feel like there's a whole other episode is, then what is the value in creative? What is the value in creativity? Like when people can do these things on their own, even if you have to be a good prompt engineer to do it, there is a way that you can get there. I mean, anybody can go on YouTube, Udemy, any of these places and learn the tools of the trade that they need to be able to do exactly the things that we're talking about. And that is where we're headed, whether people want to come to terms with it or not.
Well, I think,
we're already there.
I think, yes, some people, a lot of people are born with creativity. Some in that set don't know that they're born with it. But again, some of the most creative best CEOs are creative CEOs, right? I don't know where I was going with that really necessarily, so you can edit this out. But
No,
it's like this idea of creativity not being paired with hard work,
right?
So I think
the 10,000 hours. Diligence.
So when you talked about, we were just talking about prompt engines and how to prompt, because I see how other people engage with prompting, and they're not as excited as I am about it because they stop at like they did a Google search.
Right.
How do I improve my business? And you're like, and then ChatGPT's like, what's your business? And then it's like, oh yeah, I do this. And then it's like, okay, here's some ideas.
Yeah.
And then it's like, ChatGPT doesn't know what all the ins and outs and all the context that you can,
the nuance. Yeah.
Sit for hours writing a prompt. When you give it all the data and attachments and all the things that it needs to know, then it spiders out into the world and finds all these great case studies to bring back to bear that you're like, oh, this is great. I didn't know that they're doing that in Australia.
That was one of the things that we were talking. That's a really good point. That was one of the things we were talking about. And just to touch a little bit more on this AI piece, because we've kind of gone down that path.
Sorry, yeah.
No, dude, no, this is great because we wanted to talk. We wanted to kind of draw this out today. I think that there's a part of us that we understand that it's capable of doing these things, but the thing that it lacks that a human has is the capacity to remember what the last thing was that it did. Now, I was actually in there the other day and I said, hey, make me this. And then it kicked something out. It was great. I said, okay, now take that same thing, but do this with it. And it kicked out a completely different version of it.
And I think that's the same, I guess, hurdles I've seen with the video generation and image generation. But when you get into pure strategy and like research and the memory capacity of ChatGPT 5, and they look at Claude just implemented like a week ago, that they're putting in memory, right? Memory eats up at the end of the day a lot of space,
right?
But then even Perplexity, you can create a labs project. It's going to remember that labs project until you stop paying Perplexity, right? So, and that's what you get into with paid versus not paid, but the memory capacity is there and growing, so it's just amazing to watch it become human, right? But like way smarter than humans.
And it's not fun to watch us become batteries.
But it's but I still feel like there's a huge amount of lacking of creativity, because I think these engines are built more for mathematics, solving cancer detection problems, things that are like, listen, how can I send this rocket to Mars? Not necessarily, how can I send this rocket to Mars and host a really cool party?
Enjoy the ride, right?
Yeah,
with a bunch of like floating monkeys, right?
What kind of drinks can I take?
Yeah. It's the soul part of it. It's the emotional part of it. The core of that. That feeling. That feeling you get whenever you see that damn Macy's commercial at Christmas when the Santa Claus floats by a little kid. And then they show him in 10 years later, and then 20 years later, and then Santa floats by. He doesn't see him there, but he starts to float out into the countryside, and he goes by his window and sees the old man sitting in the chair. See, I'm getting choked up right now talking about it. Yeah. Every time I cry every year I see it. A machine can't do that, man. It might be able to work out. Guillermo del Toro actually had a bit on this. He said, you mean to tell me that to create that kind of emotional resonance, you're just going to go into an app or ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever and give it some prompting and it's going to create that?
Yeah.
No, but at least not right now.
Yeah.
It's probably not far down the road, but it can get you started. It can say, hey, I had this idea. Tell me about what you think about this and things that I should consider while I'm working through this idea. If okay, say you wanted to write a treatment. Like, we do, before we do scripting, when we work on production law, we do treatments beforehand. That's often when we pitch clients. We pitch them treatments with some visual ideas about this is kind of how we see this going. Man, for treatment ideas and like concepts, beautiful, just beautiful. Can really, it's like having someone there to bounce ideas off of, and it's fantastic. But to actually have it do, it's great to see the space guys walking on the red planet. It's like, oh, Sora, it's so cool. Yeah. Woolly mammoths running through the snow. Man, it's awesome. Yeah, but that was like a 10-second clip. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, look at what the capabilities of it are right now.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing is that you can go to that extent, and it's gotten better. Remember the car, the Monte Carlo driving through the city or whatever? It's done some amazing stuff. But when you start to get into the consistency that you have to have for brand build, it's a different ballgame. And this is going off a different path now, but I just wanted to
I think somehow it applies to in-house agencies and what CMOs are tasked with doing.
Sure.
I think.
Thanks for bringing it back.
No, but I think I think it's cool for CMOs to stay engaged with what is going on out there in our world, because I think it's a two-way street. And like clients come to, like, much like I said, how do we perform better on ChatGPT? Well, it's called answer engine optimization that Grant's been working with his team on, of really serving up the content on your website, not just from an SEO perspective, but what actually works for LLMs to find what you're selling, right? Yeah. So structure, it's not just SEO structure, but it's like it likes question and answers, because that's how it works. And I think those things and staying on top of that, that's things that I think smarter CEOs are recognizing, that there's people out there that do these things. I shared something on LinkedIn this morning. I saw this great Porsche ad. It's super cool, and it looks like a $5 million production, and it took elements of AI generated video mixed with just straight videography, mixed with for all these various tools. I mean, probably 10 different production tools to make. And it took a couple of weeks for this super talented guy to put together. Yeah. When you see it, you're like, that is amazing. That probably cost, if you were to do it 10 years ago, that would have cost you $5 million. And he did it himself in a couple of weeks.
Sure.
And you're like, damn. But it took him a couple of weeks.
To kind of
guide it would take an in-house agency forever.
Yeah.
Or us, maybe half of forever. Because the guy's super talented. He's a guy
somebody that knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah, it's like Hollywood level. Really, really, really talented guy that's on his game, right? Yeah. And he's like, I'm just excited about it, because I'm like, this is crazy.
The possibilities,
the workflow management, right?
Yeah.
Those. We're getting dorky here with our conversation.
No, but it's back to this is the best.
Keep going back to the internal verses.
Yeah. So okay. So
no verses. No verses.
I feel like we've and honestly, we need to drum up another episode, Raul, on just this stuff alone. Right? This needs to be a topic in of itself. So looking ahead, looking into the future, because I feel like we've covered off on a lot. How do you see the role of agencies evolving as more brands bring marketing functions inside their organization? How do agencies need to pivot?
I'm asking you.
I was about to switch the camera.
And I think I know the answer to this.
I was just about to switch the camera.
I think I know.
I think he's taking a message, like a very, very important message right now.
Yeah. Can you say it to Grok, please?
I think I know that. I think I know the answer to this, but so. And we've talked a lot about it, is the pivot to strategic consultancy, bringing that perspective into the fold, right? Becoming more of a strategy partner than just somebody who, because listen, man, we all know it'd be easy enough to go hire somebody and pay them $20 an hour to do graphic design, just production design, knock all this stuff out. Great. You can bring that person in, show some, and when they show you, it might be their work, it might not be. I've seen people sell other people's work off themselves and get jobs. So at the end of the day, that's why it's so important to vet people. But when you go to an agency that already has those folks in house, that they've already spent time vetting, that are road tested, tried and true, you can scale up more quickly, but you're also getting that strategic angle. But what are your thoughts around this, man? Like how do agencies evolve so they don't get left behind? Because we've watched the industry change just vastly just in the last couple of years.
I really don't care because I hope all agencies go out of business besides mine.
Perfect.
No.
Eliminate the competition.
Right. But let them do it to themselves. But how do they evolve? I guess I'm, again, preaching on really asking the right questions and asking more questions. And then not just like, here's my list of questions, much like we derailed this conversation, but I think it's beneficial to really give about what your client's selling, and I think if you can continue to show that you do care and you're like, hey, we're in this together, I think that's the best way to evolve. And that's going to involve pulling in tools and people and processes and all the above. But I think that's when the CMO really appreciates an external agency. They're like, hey, man, they really get it, so I'm going to keep working with them. And I like working with them, and our internal teams like to work with them. We have to do all these things that we're mandated to do, and it's fun to come to an agency, do a podcast, or just talk about the industry and where we're going, because odds are if they're a really smart CMO, they're going to be going to a different client. So they're just going to keep, rising in their career.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it too, is like we talk a lot about a lot of agencies all kind of saying the same things. It's like, we know it's the people internally that make the difference, right? Sure. But people really have to like working with you, man. Yeah. You can be great at what you do, but if you're the most expensive place on the block and you're a jerk, they're probably going to be like, I don't know, man.
They used to work. They used to be okay.
They used to. Yeah. You can't really Don Draper people like that anymore. You can't say, you don't like my idea? There's the door, gentlemen. See y'all next time, right? And next week there's a check for $1.5 million that you're in your bank account. But well, man, this has been great, Jay. I know we kind of got off the rails there for a little bit, but I feel like it was contextual to the conversation, though, man. I think those things we have to talk about, because those are things that are affecting why people are choosing to bring teams in-house, because there are other tools that can help them do the things they need to do day to day without having to pay whatever it is they think they shouldn't be paying to agency partners, or they just want people they can touch day to day and not have the place either across the country or across town that they have to try to facilitate, and they've got people that are closer to them.
I think, honestly, the best way to think about it is think about it myself in their shoes as a CMO. If you get hired tomorrow as a CMO for whoever, take your pick because this is all hypothetical, what would
Nike.
you do? You would have probably a small team of in-house marketers that help your own, almost like your own SEAL team. And then you're going to find an external SEAL team, probably a mid-size, because they can do a lot of different things, and it's all in one place. And then you may have some super specialized, like, if I'd say it, but PPC, if these people really kick ass at just the numbers, not the language, because I think I would task the folks that know how to talk to the consumer, I would task them with that job, but marry that with someone that just knows the data side of PPC. Not saying that they can't, because we have that capacity, but as far as like you had a huge budget, I would there'd be a blend, just like I think the best way forward is to have a blend of in-house marketing, small team, and then an external team that you trust.
I think people are looking for, agencies to have no ego. I see that a lot now. I mean, it's just, everything feels so oversaturated because everyone can do it now. Everyone has the tools. So I think it's more based on just personality and just just no egos. I think people are just tired of it, and I think also the other thing I was going to kind of mention is just, I think a lot of it too is just, I think a lot of in-house marketing, they're looking for people who can really come up with really good content and strategy. I think that's going to be the biggest kind of marker of what makes everyone different. Everybody has ChatGPT. It's free. but it's like, how do we use it properly? Or anyone can make a person, like you said earlier, like a guy on Mars walking, right? But it's like, how do you apply that to what we're doing, right? That's super cool, but that has to a finance person or a bank, or there's no way they can really use that. You know what I mean? So I think it's just those are just like my final thoughts. I think they're going to be a lot of in-house are going to be looking for people they can really lean on for strategy and content creation.
But then they can also work across the bridge with their agency partners to get the results that their CMO is asking for.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. I think you have to have people that can facilitate internally, but it's nice to have that outside perspective, and that's where a really great strategic agency partner can come into play.
Yeah.
I think I would just add the optimism. I think all these things are great things. My perspective is that these are just cool new tools that we can use, we can help our clients use. I think the opportunities are out there, obviously, no matter the market conditions, all that. I think because it's so cool to see, case studies every day of people can ask. So
yeah, I mean that's a great point too. Like just being optimistic about AI, right? Like there's two sides to that coin. There's people who hate AI and people who love it, but regardless, it's going to take over. Like regardless, that's why I always. Every time someone says, "Oh, AI can't think or it can't do these things," and I always say, "There's like a little asterisk, like yet."
Yeah.
Like
it's always a yet because
it's gonna get there.
And I think it's always, and also like it's just trying to take on that idea of positive intent. Like know that you don't have to be afraid. I think people that are afraid are the ones that are unwilling to move forward. You have to embrace the future.
Everyone's going to change.
Yeah,
I get it.
Listen, man, I always tell people there's only one constant in life, and that's change.
Yeah.
Things are going to change as you move forward, and that's just what we all have to face.
Embrace the fear and channel it towards learning new things and getting out there. It's not negatives. I think it's the positives. The people that say AI is going to take my job, no, but people that really know how to use AI will.
Mm-hmm.
There's two wills in that.
Two wills
squared. Yeah.
Will. Like your brother will call.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
Inside joke. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us again for another episode of What's the Point. Hope you tap in with us next time. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on YouTube to catch all the newest episodes and see clips and that the team and Raul put together that are always fun and amusing and some stuff you could really learn that could help you in your day-to-day. If you're looking for an agency partner, we're always around. Reach out to us on our website or give us a shout. And until next time.